today, welcome to my cooking video, or today, my baking video. Welcome. Today we're going to be making not mince pies, but something very similar. Mince pasties. Now, if you know what a Clark's flaky pasty is, yeah, if you can imagine one of those in your head, I think that's the vision I've got. Like a smaller version, obviously, because you don't want to be too much, but with mince pie sort of thing. So we're gonna have like a short crust or thin pastry, whatever you want to call it, base to our pasty, right, on the bottom. Then we'll have our mincemeat on top, and then we'll put on some puff pastry on the top and crimp it along the side. And that's what our pasty is going to be like. So welcome. I'm not much of a baker, so we'll see how this goes. I don't have scales, so this video might not be worth much because I'm not really going to be telling you how much stuff to use. I'm just going to be making up as I go along. But if you can have a look, just make up as you go along, like I do. I think that's a good, that's a nice way to do it. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let's get down and show you what our ingredients are. Alright, so this is what we're going to be working with today. We've got some eggs. I think I'm going to use 2 eggs. I've got this Tesco's baking block. You can use butter if you like. Some ready done puff pastry because I'm not making puff pastry. Some caster sugar. 2 things of Robinson's mincemeat. You can get other one, but this one was on offer. And some plain flour. And that's all you need. What I'll say before, one thing I'll say is before we do anything, right, this cooking video starts a little bit different. What I want you to do is to clean your surface. I've just cleaned this and cleaned my hands with anti-bac. Make sure it's nice and clean because we're going to be working with the pastry on the surface. So we don't want it, we want to make sure it's perfectly clean and all that, especially if you don't like thinking about germs and all that. All right, so clean that, and I'm going to come back to you once you've cleaned it with the bowl and starting to make some pastry. All right, a bowl, and I've put half the baking block in there. I might need more, but basically for this pastry, what we're doing is I'm actually going to put a little bit of caster sugar in, not much, just a small tad, just to sweeten up slightly. But what we're going to be doing is putting in plain flour in here and rubbing it in with the butter with your fingertips, right? And just the way I'm doing it, because I haven't got anything to measure it with, I'm just going to do it until it forms a nice sort of pastry consistency, enough flour in, or we might need to eventually add some more of the baking block. But if you do that, just pour in some flour, then sort of, like this, rub it together in your fingers, right? Rub until you get what a pastry consistency is like. So I'm going to do that, and if you don't know what a pastry sort of consistency is like, just hold on a minute and then watch that bit because I'll show you what I've done. All right, see you in a mo. Oh, also I forgot, some people like to add an egg. You can add an egg if you'd like. All right, so here's some pastry. I've just made it. I've also, again, got a nice coffee in the chuckle mug. So how did I do this? Well, I ended up using the entire baking block, so we got a nice amount of pastry here. All right, and the method that I used to know how much to do is just remember the fact that you can always add more in, but you can never take it out. So add in your sort of dry ingredients in slowly, all right, until you get this. Now, I see that this sort of pastry, right, the way it should be, is it pliable, look, so I can nicely move it about, but it isn't really sticky, okay? So that's the sort of thing that I think pastry should be like, all right? Not, I don't really know if this is proper, right? I made lots anyway, because if we got some left over, we can probably just add a bit more sugar and egg or something and make some biscuits, I don't know. But hopefully we'll use it all. So now what we're going to do is if we move that away, as you can see, we got our surface here to work with. we're going to flour it up. Let's just flour our surface. Okay. Do that nicely. And we're gonna take out our pastry and roll it out. How thickly should we roll it out, I hear you cry? About half a centimetre, third of a centimetre? I don't know, really. But that's what we're gonna do. Here, okay? So let's, you'll see me now in a second once this pastry is all rolled out. See you in a second. Pastry rolled out. Don't have a rolling pin, so I had to do some of it by hand. That's alright. But now what I've done is I've got two templates, right? So this one is for our pastry here, this pastry. The base of our pasty, and then this one, slightly bigger, is for the puff pastry when we roll that out soon, because that one's got to be slightly bigger because it's got to go over the top of the filling, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut out as many of these as possible, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my baking tray and put some baking paper on the baking tray on the bottom, and then I'll put the bases on there, alright? So you do that and I'll see you in a mo. There we are. There's our first sponge. We got the excess pastry back in the bowl. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, what am I going to do? Oh, roll out the puff pastry and make our lids. Pastry lids, right? What I've also done here is made an egg wash, alright? So, and I haven't got one of those funny brushes to apply it with, so I'm just going to have to use a teaspoon. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add about a teaspoon or slightly more to all of these little cases, alright? And then I'm going to egg wash the rim, but I'll be back before then. So you just put a teaspoon of our mincemeat in all of these, alright? See you in a minute. Mincemeat on each of these. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a fork from my drawer a sec. Okie doke. And I'll show you how we're going to sort of finalise this, if you know what I mean. So we're going to take sort of a bit of egg wash and we'll just put it on the rim, look. Go careful because we've only got because I haven't got one of those fancy brushes, so this could take a little bit of time. Just a little bit egg wash along the rim of our pasty. Right along there, like said. Okay, like that. Now we grab one of our lids, puff pastry lids, and we just sort of try and place it on the top. As you can see, like that. Just sort of push it down around the sides. You know, a little bit of mincemeat might sort of try and spill out, but that's just how it goes. Now what we're going to do is just sort of with the fork lightly press down, okay? Just lightly. You can see some of the mince is escaping, but that's okay. Just lightly push down, okay? Let's get that nice pasty shape with a nice sort of crimp on the exterior. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our egg wash again and just sort of give it get a teaspoon of it, sort of give it a good old rub on the top, like, you know, nice sort of like that. Oh, sorry, you can't see. Okay. Now we're going to grab our caster sugar from the outside. Caster sugar. Grab just a pinch or so and just sprinkle it on the top. Just a little sprinkle. Okay. That should help. Now that will make the top go nice and golden brown. Of course it's going to puff up. And another thing we need to not forget to do is just put one notch there and another notch there, just so steam can escape. Now then, I'm going to do this for the rest of them, and basically what we've sort of created, at least I think in theory, is a nice sort of pasty. So the top will go nice and puffed up, and at the bottom we'll have almost like a Greg Wallace inspired buttery biscuit base. Alright, so I'm going to do this for the rest, and I'll see you in a minute. There we are. There's our pasties all ready for the oven. They look a bit messy, but hopefully they'll be alright. I've preheated the oven for about 175 to 180. In for about, I don't know, 20 minutes. I don't know. I'll take them out and I'll tell you how long I had them in for. Alright? So, whack them in the oven. Job's a good one. Then, I ended up having them in for closer to 25 minutes. Right, here's our little pasty. Gone nice and golden brown on the top. Look. Lovely jubbly. So, what it is pretty much is we've got a nice sort of puff pastry lid here. Nice and flaky look. As well as a sort of crumbly, shortbready, biscuity bottom. So let's just cut them in half so you can have a look inside. Right, I don't think you can see too much inside there. Look, excuse my hands. Look at that. Almost looks a bit like an Eccles cake. So, thumb up. Job's a good one. Well, thank you for watching my mince pasty video. Hope yours turn out well. I've got mine over there and another lot in the oven. That actually only used up one jar of that mincemeat. I've actually got the other jar and I've used about half of my short crust, shortbready pastry, and actually most of the puff pastry I actually used, funny enough, oddly. I've got another lot in the oven now. So I'm gonna have plenty to share around with everybody. So hope this makes your Christmas bright and fun, and you enjoy making your pasty, and you enjoy eating your pasty, and your family members or friends or whoever enjoy one of your pasties. But yeah, thank you ever so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. You can have your pasty with cream, custard, whatever you like. See you later, and the job's a good one.